Alright guys, the World Mental Health Day is around the corner, so I thought I will just pick the minds of people from different parts of the world. One, a South Australian to the right of me, and to the left of me is a South African. Both are intellectual minds, so I just wanted to pass it by them and ask them, what does mental health mean? Since he starts with an A, Alex, so let's go with him first.
Oh, it's a really good topic and good question to ask, and I think we're on the road a lot as professional cricketers and sports people, so away from our families quite often and meeting new people, and I suppose trying to form relationships as quick as possible in these situations to make sure you're feeling, I guess, comfortable and willing to open up to some new people if something's not quite right, if you're feeling a little bit off. And obviously trying to touch back with your families back home and making sure that they're going okay as well. So yeah, it's a wonderful balance we're trying to do is play as athletes and also stay on top of our mental health, our physical health, and making sure we're happy and enjoying ourselves on the road. I'm sure you've got some really big points on that one as well, KG.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, when we play a game where we're under immense pressure, especially that all of us play international cricket, and also IPL is a big stage. And you never know what could be bothering someone, whether it's a loss in someone's family or it could be anything. And that could, you could have to bear that weight and also put a lot of energy into doing your best to perform on this platform, and also with that added pressure. So sometimes it's probably a good thing, to reach out to those who are close to you, so you can, manage that a lot better instead of keeping it inside, because at a certain stage it might just blow up, So yeah, with COVID happening, and I don't know what might have happened in certain people's lives, it's probably best to just speak out.
Right, so it's kind of interesting, right? You both come from different parts of the world. We in India haven't really acknowledged the fact that there is something called mental health for a very long time. Especially during this pandemic is when it hit us, saying that there is something huge in terms of mental health. How is it generally perceived in Australia, in an Australian cricket team, for example? Let's just delve into our own things. How seriously is mental health treated?
Very seriously, yeah, it is, and it's becoming more of a focus every day. Basically, we've had some situations over the past 12 to 24 months where players have had to take time out of the game, and I think it's good to see the players have the courage to do that, and you don't have to bear the weight and hang on as long as you can until it does break you. And the more we see people talk about it and open up about it, the better it is for the game and for everyone. I think cricket's a small part of our lives. It's only for a few years when you really think about it. So if you're going through this period of your life and you're not enjoying it, or if there's something going wrong, I like to see the people have the courage to speak up. And at the moment, mentally and physically, I'm in a pretty good space. 3 months' time, when we're in hub life for however long, it could get to a point where I might have to take some time away or speak to the professionals, and it's just having the courage to do that. And I think Cricket Australia have supported the players in a really strong way, that if something's not okay, then take some time away, we'll put your arm around you, and we'll get you back into cricket when the time's right. So it's been really, I guess, healthy to see the support from the men and women cricketers in Australia, that if something's not okay, we'll look after you. Cricket will always be there when the time comes to come back in. So it's it's every day there's more applications you have to fill out to check in, and sports psychologists, and it's becoming, I think over the last 12 months I've seen a really big shift and a really strong shift in that space.
Right. What does sports psychology mean to you, KG? Back at home, how is it perceived in South Africa? Is it treated seriously, or how does it work?
it's interesting what Alex says, because I mean in South Africa I haven't heard much of sports psychology going on. But when we were like under 19, playing in the under 19 team, I do remember us having someone there who would give us different techniques, but that was all on performance, you know, but nothing really on tackling your life's challenges. But in South Africa, you sort of you grow up and you're told to be hard and to be strong, you know, that's sort of how you grow up. But then I guess, you know, people are different and they do have, you know, different needs when it comes to their mentality. Some people, people just see things differently. But I think it's definitely a way to go to actually encourage people to speak out a lot more, like I said. I think it's a game, it's a part of cricket that needs to be looked after. Also, I think when you're in a good mental space, you just feel like you can take over the world. So mentally being mentally strong is really important, especially from the pressures of the game. You know, as cricketers, we constantly get abuse. I mean, it's there. We constantly, we're under a lot of pressure to perform, not only from the public, but from the union, from your coach, and also on yourself. You put that pressure on yourself. So those are the things that, you know, are there that you can just manage. But as Alex said, I mean, it's great what they're doing in Australia. There's help that people can look into getting, and yeah, I think it's something that I might look into.
Fingers crossed. I'm looking forward to the Indian teams also getting a sports psychologist soon enough, because I think it's a very important sounding board for me to be able to trust someone and go up to them and talk about what I feel, how I'm feeling on a particular day, how I feel let down. If I feel low, I should be able to share it with someone. Sometimes human emotions aren't taken as seriously as it must be taken. So like you said, KG, there is a lot of pressure, right? We are in the era of social media now.
Yeah.
So that's something which we need to definitely speak about, because you constantly find people, you know, criticizing you, you know, judging you, dissecting you on the social media platforms these days. You're having the purple cap. For example, you don't have it tomorrow. People are going to talk about it.
One day they love you, one day they hate you.
Yeah. You don't know what really happens and why someone's doing it. So how do you tackle it? Is there a way? Have you cracked that code yet? Because it's like you need to be on it and you need to be able to deal with it. It's going to be a part of the next generation's occupation, so to say. So how do you see it?
For me, like, it's something that is just reality, and it's something that I don't place my worth on what someone else says for me. But you know, those sort of emotions can weigh heavy in sort of like a negative way, where you might feel irritated by it, although maybe you don't. It's probably playing a bigger role than you actually think. Whereas when you do get that mental help, then it almost like it's much lighter, because you probably have certain techniques that you can use to actually make that load much lighter. Whereas now it's probably just a bit irritating, and then you just leave it and it sort of goes away with time. Whereas I guess if you have a technique that you can use, it can go away in that instant, you know. But for me, I don't place my worth on that. I think it's very fickle. But yeah, it's a tricky one.
It's a big learning for me. I'll definitely go away richer in this conversation, saying I shouldn't place my worth on somebody else's opinion. It's bang on, because somebody else is making a living out of giving their opinions. So I think we should take it that way. Alex, what about you? How do you deal with it?
Yeah, I think it's spot on. I think it's just understanding everyone's different in what they can actually cope with and what they can't. And you know, I might read something and it doesn't affect me, whereas someone else might read it and it's like, oh my God, what's being said? Like, so I think, you know, we're a little bit older and I guess experienced, but for a new kid coming in, seeing someone abuse him online, someone that's never played a game of cricket in their life, who works as whatever, to come in and say, you know, you're no good. I think, again, we all deal with it differently, but just realising that the people that are important, that give you the advice or the trust, are the ones that you're going to speak to on a day-to-day basis, and they're the ones that have the most impact in your career. So if the coach is abusing you or saying something about you, then it's probably pretty important. But you won't see that. You'll see people that you've never met in your life, you'll never meet in your life, and their one or two comments online have a really big impact on some people. So again, it's not hiding away from the fact that it's out there, but it's making sure that players coming through are okay to deal with it. And we all go back to our room after a good or day's play, and we can find whatever we want. We can find someone saying how good you are, or we can find someone saying how bad you are. So it's good that we're talking about it, but we also need to make sure that the youngest player on the team's still fine. He might go to his room, he might read something, and it affects him a lot more than someone else. So, and that's the beauty of our relationships in teams, and having friends in your group that you can actually open up about. It's probably the ones that don't quite have the close connections to discuss really key parts in in social media or their sport. So that's where I guess the sports psychologist, if you trust them, trust is probably the big word too. I'm lucky here in Delhi to have Marcus Stoinis, fellow Aussie that I've got a close relationship with. But if I didn't have someone close to talk to about it, it might be a little bit different. So yeah, it's a beautiful, and mental health and all this, it's a great topic to talk about, and it's raising awareness and being able to talk about it, I think. Hearing your stories is, you learn off guys that have been through it all. So yeah, it's social media is always going to be out there. Personally, I don't have Twitter. I got rid of Twitter. I found that no value.
Toxic.
Again, if I wanted to read something good,
How can you get away from it though?
Yeah, I've got Instagram.
It's always there.
Instagram, I'm still online with.
You can find tweets on Instagram too. People pick it up.
Yeah. So there's no hiding it, but it's being okay to manage it or understand that, look, that the guys that are abusing you probably don't have a big impact in your career anyway. Keep smiling and again, talk to someone if you do. If it is impacting you, talk to someone. Yeah.
Right, amidst this pandemic, right? I mean, we've all gone through, people are sitting at homes. A lot of people have lost jobs as well. So they are going to be dealing with a whole lot more problems than, I would say we are a little more blessed than they are. So how would you look at life from their perspective? Is there something, because you do a lot of community work back in South Africa, so how do you see it panning out? What would be your 5 cents for people like that who are struggling to get through these times?
It's very hard to speak from such a fortunate position. When we get to play, our complaints are much different to theirs. I mean, people are losing jobs, first of all. Some companies are retrenched. I heard in Australia, people are losing their jobs at Cricket Australia. And here we are, you know what I mean? I don't know, that's a hard one, man. I guess the only thing is to keep hope. And I think that the people who are in charge, who hold vital positions to make sure that the country can go back to its functional ways. I mean, now they're being tested. We get tested on a Saturday afternoon. Now they're getting tested. So yeah, hopefully they can do a good job into stabilizing the economy and yeah, getting these people their jobs back. There's been a lot of people who lost some family members. I lost some family members too. That's just something that just happens, and it's something that you have to deal with people who are close to you, like your family. But man, these are really crazy times. I really don't know what to say, but except for people just to have hope and I guess some sort of plan.
I'll just phrase it a little better for you to take it, Alex. Just hang in there. We hang in there a lot of times, right? Go through a tough spell. When KG bowls, it's like basically you can get hit anytime, and I just hang in there to get over it. So how do you hang in there? What's your best mantra for hanging in there?
Yeah, I think hopefully they can see some light at the end of the tunnel, and we're lucky enough to be doing what we're doing. We are away from our families, but being in Australia again, we're quite fortunate with how everything was sort of dealt with. But you know, everyone again will deal with this situation differently. It made me realise who's really important in my life, my family, and having 3 to 4 months off, and you sort of see the people, or you're only allowed to see the people that are really important in your life. So that was a great opportunity to spend some time with my family and appreciate exactly what I do have. But yeah, there's people doing it, obviously really difficult. Would have lots of Delhi fans that would love to be at the games. Unfortunately, we would love for them to be there as well, but hang in there. Hopefully there's some light at the end of the tunnel soon, and if we all keep doing the right thing, then we'll have fans back at the cricket. Hopefully cricket goes ahead and people can get back to working and doing what they love doing. But yeah, it's a difficult one to give advice or words of wisdom on.
I like what you said though, the family. Stick close with your
Family is the
family.
only answer. I mean, just stick close to them. But just that, my thought process around the whole thing is human beings are a bundle of emotions. Sometimes we don't take care of the emotions that very well. When somebody is emoting and talking their mind out, we just don't receive it and say, yeah, that's how he feels about it, and I should just be a lending here. Sometimes we just don't do it. And I would say, like you said, just hang in there, help one another out, like how KG does. He does a lot of work back home. I'm sure a lot of us are privileged enough to go out there and do some community work and maybe handle every emotion with care.
Yeah, maybe a technique might be, rather than thinking about what's going on with me, maybe it's all right. I'm gonna reach out to some other people and be that helping ear and take some stress out from listening to someone, rather than having the everything in the background that's going wrong for you is actually taking an ear to you, and maybe that's some sort of way of supporting someone else, and it might make you feel a little bit better as well.
So I think that's pretty much what we've got, guys. I know everybody is going through tough times, and we're all keeping our fingers crossed. Yes, we are all in a much better space. We are playing the game, and hopefully you're enjoying it. But there will be a time, and there is always light at the end of the tunnel, and that's exactly how I'd like to finish this.